Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello. Please excuse the shoddy start there. Uh, Good evening, and wishing you a very happy Halloween. And this is me, James, on Damn Good Coffee Time. How are you doing there today? Um, One thing I might ask you, if you have any film recommendations for me, new or old, or anywhere in between, please just you can give me a nod in the chat. I would appreciate it, because I'm looking for anything that might be of interest to watch. Having watched a few things lately, although of course a mix of things, and ranging from Full Metal Jacket at the Bay International Film Festival that occurred over the weekend in Morecambe. Well, it's a month-long affair, in fact. Especially focusing on Kubrick's whole filmography, and then it also had a component or selection of films which were entered into competition as short films for the whole thing, which I got a little bit of a glimpse into. But Saturday night there at the Rio Cinema in Morecambe, I saw Full Metal Jacket, and the cinema itself was slightly bigger than I expected, and quite old-fashioned and straightforward feeling, really. I think for a cinema, and the screen was decent size. The, I did remark to Josh that the whatever transfer of Full Metal Jacket they were showing, I almost questioned whether it was being um, shown from a Blu-ray, and projected. I mean, I don't know, but it didn't come off as being like remastered or sort of made to look its optimum for 2023, but at the same time it resembled pretty much how the film would have looked on the cinema back in 1987, I think, or thereabouts. So the film, which Rob Ager in his videos, he did remark on how the initial release for the film, I presume in the cinemas, I'm not sure, it may have been cropped a bit in the cinemas, but it was filmed, as a lot of Kubrick films were, in 4:3 ratio. And so that was perfect for video, of course, where Full Metal Jacket earned itself quite a high degree of popularity, I imagine, compared to. I mean, in the cinema, I think it did pretty okay, but it didn't it didn't necessarily light the box office alight, like Platoon did, perhaps. But then I think it would be fairly unrealistic to expect that, considering the nature of Kubrick's film. And it was more immersive, actually, watching it in the cinema for me, especially probably considering that I moved right down to the front row. And so I was going to sit at the very back, but then they said we couldn't sit in those because they were filming the after talk, but with Rob Ager and Jan Harlin, the long-time producer of Kubrick's, and another guy who's an actor and writer mainly from known. I knew him from the sitcom Ideal with Johnny Vegas. But anyway, the film basically, of course, I was over familiar with Full Metal Jacket, so I was a little bit uh, trepidatious about going to see it in some senses, thinking, am I going to just find it, just not that exciting, just seeing it again. But I mean, not that I was excited as such, but I mean, watching it that close, and the screen was some way back actually, so it wasn't ridiculous being on the front row. Definitely felt more immersed in the hyper focus and sort of obsessive gaze of the film, which I think is apparent enough anyway. If you watch it on a home big screen or anything, it's like a laser focused film, but it's on the big screen. I think it really does bring that aspect of it out, and uh, that aspect of it, I think, doesn't make for a particularly easily commercial film, really. Apart from one thing that is always remarked, of course, and Rob Ager talks about this a lot, is the first 40 minutes or so, the initial training sequence with Ali Ermi, and I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, actually. Um, you know, i- and basically Vincent D'Onofrio, and it's just, I was looking forward actually for that part to be finished, and then sort of just take in the rest of it, really. I mean, because if it's sort of it has a bit of an unfamiliarity to it to me. The second part, where they're actually in Vietnam, was probably my favorite long sequence of the film, which it has been mentioned, that many people just didn't like the second half of the film, because it just seems directionless and one skirmish or just one sequence of the soldiers, going ahead without any seeming particular rhyme or reason. And then it concludes, obviously, with the sniper sequence. And I suppose then it does have a reason to it. So, yeah, and I think obviously the second half of the film is just uh, one scene of futility against after another, and just even a so-called descent into hell, really, towards the end. And I think some of the aspects of it, where particularly at the end, where we get the shot of the sniper, and I mean, seeing it big on the screen like that, the age of the sniper is so much more apparent. Even I think, like she looks probably could be 16 or something. Um, so it's quite a remarkable scene, and I mean, in terms of the visuals of it, the photography of the when she appears, it is excellent. Just kind of better than most things you'll see on the big screen. But at the same time, there is an aspect where people view Kubrick as sort of technical and cold, and there's a lack of maybe character development of him. I mean, that's probably even more true. So true of Full Metal Jacket in a way, but I think the grunts or the soldiers, the development of their characters is only taken so far, of course, in fitting with the nature of the film. But I enjoyed the film, as much as I could. I think it is a very dark film for Metal Jacket, really. And it's not really, I mean, it's certainly not designed to be enjoyed. There are moments in it where, you're thinking like, is this supposed to be completely serious? And it doesn't seem it, where, especially where the sniper is shooting off at the guys she's already uh, hit them, and they're lying on the floor, and she's shooting again, like tormenting them and the other soldiers, of course. So it's got this sort of the whole film is leading up to this moment where it actually feels almost set up and sort of like a theatrical ending in a way, just to sort of somehow make sense of everything. But when you have these slow motion shots of the blood and gushing out, and the soldiers going, doing the slow motion moans of pain, that is something which is, for me at least, there's an element of it where I was laughing, but it's I think that's just part of it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that I interpreted that wrongly, but yeah, that was an interesting experience for sure on the big screen. And Rob Eggers has actually said that people generally view it as a lesser film by Kubrick, which I don't. I'm not aware of any such kind of assessment of the film. I don't. I've never known it to be viewed as lesser than any of his other films in particular, or in terms of his more recent films. I mean, of course, it took him a long period, and then he eventually made Eyes Wide Shut. And Jan Harlin, his longtime producer, who's now 86, but kind of, just sharp and on the ball, uh, surprisingly so, actually. Um, yeah, he was very complimentary towards Eyes Wide Shut, saying it was a very sincerely meant film, and there wasn't anything deleted, big scenes deleted out of it, apart from a bit of censorship that Warner Brothers wanted. So, and I like Eyes Wide Shut for sure, and it's definitely a different kind of film to Full Metal Jacket. But I think you could have easily had a 3-hour version of Full Metal Jacket, actually. So it's one of Kubrick's maybe more concise films. I'm not sure about the running time, but it's not a long film. It comes in at something under 2 hours. And it doesn't feel long. Um, I mean, in terms of the actual production of it and the shooting, some of it is really quite remarkable in terms of its encapsulating that feeling of Vietnam. But the filming at Beckton Steel Gasworks and everything is really quite amazing in many ways. But yeah, that I will leave it at that about Full Metal Jacket. Just good to see the film. And yeah, I think, like, for instance, I was going to say Eyes Wide Shut was not necessarily given the most glowing reception on its release. I think it may have people may have warmed to it more over time, perhaps. But I do remember how Eyes Wide Shut was viewed quite coolly by a lot of critics at the time, and not necessarily praised to the absolute max. Perhaps something like Full Metal Jacket may have got a more warm critical reaction in back in quite some while back before that, in the late 80s. So, Phantom Cooper, thank you for the recommendation. I'm always looking for recommendations to watch things now, because the old thing of people going online. You're looking online and you end up just scrolling through Netflix or scrolling through BBC iPlayer, Now TV, or whatever few things I've got. I've tried to subscribe to as few things as possible, because it's just uh, really just flagrantly wasting money subscribing to all these different things that they've got. Of course, they always have their specific selections, which are quite narrow, that you might be interested in watching, like something on Paramount, but then you're just not interested in much else that they've got on there. So that's always the problem. And it's, if it was up to me, I would combine them all into one big service, really. But And I don't mean going and cracking your Fire Stick and having Kodi and all that on there. So Phantom Cooper, the Hillary Clinton documentary, is quite horrifying. Is that something on? Is that on Netflix or something? I don't know anything about this. And can you tell me why it's quite horrifying? It's it's not really something on my radar. Dan Peak says, I've been rewatching some of Tarantino's films. I noticed he used the Reagan theme from Exorcist 2 in Hateful Eight. Yeah, yeah, I've heard about that. But yeah, I mean, I can understand people might like the soundtrack to The Exorcist 2 more than the film itself, perhaps. Sorry. And yeah, from Russia, we've got Stephen Cockline, I believe. Alan Wake 2 is at Twin Peaks season 4. Great pastiche. And good evening to you as well. And thank you for the comment. I have heard, I've seen mentions online of uh, Alan Wake 2, the new game. I presume it's coming out on, come out on the newest platforms like PS5 or etc. But I don't really know much about the game in terms of how it plays out. I'm not sure what you mean in terms of Twin Peaks season 4, of course, other than just imagining some kind of conflation of the original Twin Peaks, something of the surreal aspect of the return, and then something else different even from that. Really, I suppose. I suppose it's Alan Wake's own style as well. But um, good evening also to Gary there. Thank you for tuning in. On Sunday night, I think it was. Yeah, I uploaded like a few brief videos. One where I was meeting Rob Ager, and then also a couple of videos just where it's Josh following me around in this really sort of a bit of a pitiful fairground around the back of some of the shops and the amusements in Morecambe, and then also going in this whole amusement arcade called Pleasureland. The other ones, I mean, a few people have clicked on the Rob Ager one because obviously it's got his name in the title and there's going to be some interest. But the Pleasureland video suddenly just started getting lots and lots of likes. Oh, I mean, not lots of likes, lots of views, to the point of it being something like 2.2K views now, all of a sudden in just a day. It seems like somehow it just got promoted by YouTube all of a sudden, and I wish I knew why. I wish there was some way you could contact YouTube and say why was this video suddenly shown to people on their feeds as first up recommended. And I don't know. I mean, in terms of the actual video itself, walking around the arcade, it's just I don't really think there's a lot in it in terms of entertainment value, particularly from my perspective. But it got me some more subscribers all of a sudden. But I just don't know if they're subscribing because that they think that I'm going to just keep putting out videos about going in arcades in sort of seaside towns or something. So very curious. I honestly have no idea how that happened. It was thanks to Josh for his filming of it and everything, but um, it was a sort of a pleasant surprise to see a video get a sudden boost of interest like that. But I mean, going back some time, it has happened occasionally when I've done commentary videos. So I really think it's just about timing and could be the title of the video. I have no idea. I have no idea. I really don't know. Does YouTube have a liking for videos of people like me going into arcades and then sort of doing a humping type motion next to a Scooby Doo coin machine? I don't know. No idea what to say about that. I really should have been having some of that Buster Move type action, definitely. Um, yeah, any more recommendations for anything to watch? I'd really appreciate them. Phantom Cooper seems to have just come in and then just left after making one recommendation, but I would have liked to have heard more about that. Let me just put a couple of photos up of things that I've watched from different places. Partly I was watching them before I went to Morecambe, and then mainly watched them when I got back. Finished watching this one, which is quite a slow show called A Friend of the Family. Um, it's Anna Paquin, Colin Hanks, I think that is. McKenna Grace plays the slightly older version of the daughter. I can't remember the actor who plays the predator neighbor who befriends everybody. They're all supposed to be Mormons, and it was based on a real true life story, which I think is quite well known, especially in America. But with all the true life stuff that people have on YouTube, that makes it even more so. And obviously, as you can see, great cast. The lead guy as this predator pedophile guy. I mean, he is excellent in it, and he's got this sort of smiling charm about him. Almost, you could compare it a little bit to Leyland, perhaps in Twin Peaks, but the actor just has it down to a T. And his disarming charm and sort of smiling ways, which is all just obviously play acting, and well, just a way of him twisting things, getting people on his side, and eventually, well, he abducts the daughter of this family. And yeah, it's the reality of what happened and everything is quite disturbing. Although I think the film, um, or the series, sorry, it's like 9 parts. I think it's not exactly. It doesn't really show you anything particularly, so it's all going on in the background, really. But I recommend it to some extent. I found it a little bit like it's got so much potential, but especially with the cast, and I don't understand why it was sort of not exactly tame, but considering that it's dealing with child abuse and sexual abuse, and a guy who was abducting more than one girl, but it centers on this one particular. I mean, towards the end, there are a couple of moments where it's like almost Laura Palmer-esque, sort of realization of what really happened, and she could sort of see his face coming in to the side of her because she was drugged all the time. So it's like she doesn't really remember it. So, and that little part is very well done, but it doesn't. I mean, it certainly doesn't go to the level of Bob Leyland and the scene in Firewalk with Me, the reveal scene. But yeah, this lead actor is excellent in it. I don't know what that even is, Gary. The ex-wife, is that a series? Um, yeah, I also watched Time, which is a BBC show, sort of like, I suppose you would call it the second series of this, and it's 3 different stories though, or 3 different young women, really youngish, Uh, I mean, especially the Bella Ramsey character is very young in it, but they're all serving different sentences, and I think it's sort of like a kind of induction center where they're all originally. Anyway, I recommend it. It's well done for a prison drama. Tamara Lawrence, who's in it, the black actress, she's also in Prison Circumstances in the film made before this, um, The Silent Twins, which I highly recommend. Very well done film. Uh, just the style of it and the evocation of the time of the 70s, even though, or early 80s, even though it's filmed mostly in Poland. But Silent Twins, excellent. Jodie with yeah, Jodie Whittaker is very good in this. She's sort of more tomboyish even than how they had her in um, Doctor Who, really, and so she's quite unprettified and looks, especially with the way they've done her hair, she looks very almost masculine in this. So anyway, I really recommend it. It's good. As much as, a prison drama can be. It's not like, really shocking on the level of something like Scum, but it's got its moments and it's very watchable. I mean, Bella Ramsey is actually excellent though, but how young she is, the kind of performance she gives in this, it's really she can really show emotions well. The videos again recommended because they're obviously great. Yeah, but I think the reason that it got recommended, it doesn't really make any sense. It's because it's not like this one. Once I've finished going live and it's just left there on YouTube, it'll only get the viewers really who tune in live, and then just a handful of other people who watch them, and that's like something that I just have no real stake in or anything. I can't see how I could really alter that unless, of course, I mean, I could become incredibly professional and have timestamps and all these kind of things, make the videos look more professional, etc. But then they'd probably be pre-recorded. But but I like the interaction with the chat, of course, even if it's just a group, a small amount of people like now, really. And I don't know, it was just seemed like a fluke, obviously, to be honest, Cockline. So Bad Boys is one I've never actually seen, to be honest. That's that's a Sean Penn film, isn't it? It's not easily. It's not something that's very much available online. In particular, I don't know about uh, Blu-ray or anything like that. So, just to get back to the topic of the Bay International Film Festival in Morecambe, I mean, especially with the weather getting more and more, well, more wintry and just the cold and everything. I did have a little bit of a walk on the beach, and on Sunday morning, and it was quite a little bit of sun coming through. Felt almost mild for a moment, but Morecambe is like a lot of seaside towns. It's just sporadic, split between just areas where there's just closed down shops and other buildings, and then there's just suddenly a shoe shop and an arcade. It's just But I mean, being there for the festival was the best thing, of course, and it was great seeing Josh again, and his girlfriend Lottie was really good company as well, good to talk to. She kind of brought a lot of. She gave it a good feel. with her cheerfulness and everything. And of course, getting to meet Rob Ager was good. I sat at the front with everyone and for his initial talk he had on the Sunday, and he remarked on my Yes T-shirt because the lead singer of Yes was from Lancashire, the area where we were in at, probably. But it was just something that Rob Ager liked. And then later I spoke to him and talked to him a little bit about Animal Mother, how he talked about him in Full Metal Jacket. And he was very friendly and was sort of like he made the effort of really remembering everyone, our names. Like, hello, Josh. See you later. He said to Josh, if you're in Liverpool anytime, contact me. We ought to. So that in itself was when I heard that, that made me think that obviously I can come as well. So that I'm basically invited. So if you look at that quick short video, I said to Lottie, don't don't take a photo, just do it like a little video because people won't know any difference when you're doing it on a phone. So, and Rob Ager was like putting his hand on on my body here, on my chest more really, and he wanted to get the Yes T-shirt under my coat in the shot. Unfortunately, that was not. He wasn't actually patting my stomach or something, as some people think. Um, which would have been unacceptable, really, on all counts. Halloween Resurrection has Buster Rhymes having a kung fu fight with Michael Myers. Clearly the best of the franchise. Yeah, Halloween Resurrection is is the sort of more hip hop one, right? And it's filmed like reality TV style in some kind of house. I don't know if it's like they're making some kind of reality TV show with Halloween theme, and then obviously Michael Myers comes and invades that, and everybody starts getting massacred, which is I mean that was it did get a cinema release, but it's sort of like straight to video level. Halloween, like I remember going to see Halloween H2O, and that was one of the truly best um, Halloween films, really. I think. Yeah, they should bring it out like remastered or something on Blu-ray, Gary. If not, it's a missed opportunity. Yeah, you're right, Isabella. That's a good. I mean, it's a simple point, but I think sometimes simple advice is usually can be the best in terms of this kind of thing, particularly. I mean, YouTube is not like um, quantum physics or something. We're not supposed to be uh, cracking a code so much. But although, of course, there are people who like to make videos where it's Twin Peaks explained or explaining this, that, and the other. In fact, even just looking at Rob Eger's videos about Full Metal Jacket, there's a video uh, by a female, in name at least, of the channel, Full Metal Jacket Explained. And of course, I think you type that in as the title of your video, you you're probably automatically going to attract a certain amount of people who, as long as it appears genuine, if as I've done in the past, I mean, my videos probably don't even get a look in, but if people can immediately tell if it's meant sincerely or not, and if they see a video of me and I'm in a bath, then at the start and it's all about cracking the code of season 3 of Twin Peaks or something, then people probably think this is not meant seriously. This is a parody or something, or this person is just mentally ill, basically. And that's true of a lot of people on YouTube, probably, though, to be honest. So thank you, Trapped in Plastic, aka Millie. I had a good time. Yes, overall, I think it was like it was getting cold. One day, I left my like woolly hat uh, inside the B&B I was staying in, I was there for 3 nights. The bed in the B&B, even though the B&B was actually really good, and I've been there before once, he remembered me as well. Like, he said, "Oh, you came back 2 years ago, didn't you?" I says, "No, it's more like 4, I think." So, I honestly think that during the pandemic, time just became, compressed and expanded almost, and it's like people just went into this state of non-existence. Well, I did, certainly. Um it's like I liked going to the whole event. I liked everything that Josh and Lottie enabled me to be part of. And going to this dinner, especially, we were given, free food on the Sunday and everything. Um, really, really quite nice selection, like a buffet, really, but quite a lot of uh, fried chicken type stuff, sausage rolls. You could just have a bunch of sandwiches if you wanted, salad, and all sorts of other bits to pick up. So you could have had an absolute feast if you wanted. Halloween H2O, clearly the best one. Johnny says, aka Cyberpunk Dystopia. I think it's one of the best sequels to Halloween since the original film, by all means, as far as I know. And this is coming from me, like I've never even seen Halloween 2, really, not in any length, because it's just not very. It doesn't grab you, and I've never watched the whole film in one sitting or anything like that. But Halloween 3: Season of the Witch is actually a decent film, uh, and they use the same typeface and everything for the start credits of Halloween Ends, which is a nice touch. But when it doesn't make any sense, that's just like a little. It just feels a bit glib and meaningless. Like you've got to have something. You've got to have some relationship between the two films, and as far as I'm aware, there wasn't really. So, but yeah, Halloween 3 is a decent film for sure. But of course, many fans were absolutely furious at the lack of Michael Myers in it. So, apart from in a TV scene, someone watching the actual original film on the TV, I believe. And I thought that Halloween Ends was interesting as a film, but it didn't quite manage to sustain that interest over its what felt long, 2 hours. I mean, it had some really nice bits in it that I liked, where they're down in the underneath in the sort of the sewage pipe or whatever, and there's a sort of a shape of the Michael Myers face, like on part of the wall, and someone looks and like, that was good, but it didn't have enough in there as a film as a whole to really sustain it. So yeah, felt like they had something there, but they just ran out of ideas. Yeah, I mean, Arrow Video have got so many remastered and just great, great things available. Great films, I mean. So like that, The Visitor was Arrow, wasn't it? And I mean, if that can get a re-release and remastered and everything, surely Bad Boys could, as different as the films might be, I suppose. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really focus on one subject with any videos much, apart from when I've done commentaries. So, um, oh yeah, I know that this could sound crazy and distasteful or something as well, but with me starting videos where I was in the bath and the sort of the the passing of Friend star Matthew Perry in what was described as drowning in his. I mean, it was really a big pool more than a just a jacuzzi or anything like that, but it brought out sort of certain people on the internet, of course, like looking on davidicke.com forum and everything. People were just posting all these. Someone anyway had collected all of these pictures of pop stars mainly. I don't know if there are any actors particularly, but just posing in baths as if this is some kind of part of some kind of grander meaning about the whole thing. And there was Amy Winehouse sort of sitting on the side of a bath to one side, and there was Courtney Love in one at one point. That doesn't seem to link to any particular meaning there. Paul McCartney, lots of other people who I can't necessarily remember, and it just seemed like people want there to be all these different connections, perhaps, but um, oh yeah, the funniest thing was people were commenting on these videos he posted to his Instagram or wherever, and it's like he's picking up these cranberries, and in one shot it says, "This is what I've been mainly eating today." I mean, if you actually focus on the nature of the posts he was making, that is the kind of more the thing to focus on and wonder what was his state of mind, because the posts seem just incredibly, well, to me, like nuts. Just this, divorced from any real, like, his own personality even. So it's making you think, like, what exactly was he on, that he was this sort of depersonalized and out of his mind, really, I think. And he was posting pictures of these cranberries, picking them up or something, and a three on this tabletop or whatever. And then people were saying, well, he drowned in a bathtub or in water, and not deep, same as Dolores O'Riordan of the band The Cranberries, leaving three cranberries, and he's showing three cranberries in this. And I mean, people have actually linked it all up to some kind of almost level of the Babylon working, and and it's also to do with the moon, the particular phase of the moon, and how this moon at the moment is like some unusual particular moon. It's just, I mean, it is quite hilarious, but also baffling how people could make such a connection with Matthew Perry of all people, though. Star of, I mean, I know he was in some films which Josh is really, he had them all on VHS. Uh, Fools Rush In from 1996, classic. Oh, I was going to say he was in a film with Jennifer Lopez, but no, he was in um, Fools Rush In, straight-laced Manhattanite Alex Whitman, and fiery Mexican-American Isabel Fuentes, Salma Hayek, indulge in a night of passion. Brilliant. Of course, he was in The Whole Nine Yards, Three to Tango with Neve Campbell and Dylan McDermott. What's happened to Dylan McDermott? Matthew also did the Windows 95 video guide with Courtney Cox. It's a must see, obviously, if you want to get to know about Windows 95. So I mean, he had like a very, mainstream rom-com um, excursion into Hollywood filmmaking, Hollywood mainstream, releases. for the masses in the cinemas back in those days, in the multiplexes. But I think it's probably a bit of a shame that Matthew Perry couldn't quite get into doing something a little bit more alternative and sort of slightly off the mainstream grid, really, and move into doing something which could have been successful and used his talents and everything in a different way, really. I think he did do a few projects like that, honestly, but they never really quite took off as much as you. I mean, I don't know whether it's to do with his acting style or whether his comedy just didn't work in a different sort of. He was almost like the only slightly left field acting star in Friends, for instance, in some ways. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Right. Hello, 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 hello. Right. Well, sorry about that. I hope you can hear me now. It was just because I was using this portable mic thing. It's wireless. It needs charging, obviously. Thanks for telling me both, Gary North and Dan Beek. Hello there, Charlotte. I hope you're all right. And she asks, "What are you doing here, Cyberpunk Dystopia?" I remember all the Friends cast being shoved into movies when the show was popular. Yeah, I mean, in a way, Courtney Cox maybe made quite a good transition because she went into the Scream films, which combined a certain degree of comedy as well as horror. But probably Jennifer Aniston had the most successful transition into films. Hmm. Back. Hello, Mrs. Nightstar. I'm all right, thanks. How are you doing? The last weekend, just I've just come back yesterday from Morecambe, which is near where Josh lives, and so from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was part of this international film festival there that they've got. I mean, for a place to be holding like a festival, it's almost slightly incongruous, but I suppose it's a little bit, Cannes esque, but Morecambe is definitely not Cannes. You know. Here's here's the poster, Scott. So it's right throughout October. I'm just glad that Josh told me about it, and I obviously I could only go there for a few days, but saw Full Metal Jacket on the big screen. But the best thing was listening to Jan Harlin, the longtime producer of Kubrick's, and seeing Josh, of course, and his girlfriend, a few other people who I talked to, and Rob Ager. So, and we managed to go in for a few, nice place with food and stuff. So, Josh, he had to carry his miniature he made of the bathroom from The Shining, from the cinema to the Midland Hotel, which were sort of across from each other. But it's surprisingly heavy, so a lot of people got to see that. It was excellent, really. It was lit up from the inside. It's completely convincing, just the same as what you would expect, having seen the film. So even with little miniature glasses of Advocaat on a tray left on the side there with the sinks and stuff. Well, I haven't even got any candy, which is sensible, but that does happen here, but probably not to the extent there. So I will be back again when I've got more things to talk about. Whether someone else comes on as well with me, I don't know. But one film I've seen reviews of, or well, I've not actually read the reviews. I just want to go and see it. Is the new film, The Killer? Is it called? So that's a new David Fincher film. So I'm interested. It's looks good for sure, but I'm not sure whether I'll particularly enjoy it. But I'll see. So in the meantime, everybody out there, take care, and I will see you again in the trees or somewhere nearby there. So thanks for watching.